Okay, we are officially recording. Hi guys, happy Sunday, good morning. Today's team call, I am really excited about. Audrey, we're gonna wait on your UK because your connection's really bad, okay? Is she talking?
That's fine.
Am I
here?
Yeah, but I was gonna mute you because it's in and out. I don't know if you should talk later or something because it's so busy.
That's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Keep pausing on you.
I'll eat, yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. When I was putting this together, it was so much fun to read up about hustling and also having a heart and how the two of them go so well together and you have to have both. But as I was also reading about it, it was really cool to see what people's perceptions of the word hustle really is. And I did ask, I had a little poll on TeamInspired, but I want you guys, does anyone want to share what their idea of the word hustle is? Like when I see the word hustle, does it bring anything to mind? And you can either chat with me or I can unmute you. You can unmute yourself. Well, let's just get a wave of hands. How many of you, when you think of hustle, think of like hustling illegally? Does that come to mind? A little bit? It's like, okay, no. How many of you think of like kind of like a bad taste in your mouth? Like just like, ugh, hustler, you know? No? Okay, or do you think of like, maybe like an athlete who hustled his way to the top and worked really hard? Good, that's a good thing if that's kind of where your mind is going, because if you already have a negative feeling towards the word, then you have to get over that before we can get to the point where we hustle a little bit harder, okay? And we hustle with heart so that we are kind of like more like the athlete rather than the pimp, right? Like that hustler mentality. So I started this out. I was looking for like a quote that really describes how I feel about the word hustle. And I found this quote and it's, hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. And I will tell you guys, I have seen people join my team that have more potential than any one of us. They are like primed to be the top coach, right? Like maybe they're already in fitness. Maybe they have that body that you just die for. Maybe they have that personality, but they just don't have the hustle and they never get anywhere. And then I'll see someone and I feel like, guys, I'm not a fitness person. I've never been a fitness person. I sucked at sports my entire life. But I'm willing to work my ass off. That's the truth. And I see people on my team, same thing, that it's like they're not the person that has it written all over them that I'm going to, be amazing at this, but they're willing to work and they're willing to show up. And that's the hustler mentality that I believe translates to success. Write this down if you guys want to read an awesome book about this. It's called Outliers, and I will say it's a really fun read. It's a fun read, and it talks all about how sometimes in life the people that got lucky were just there when opportunity presented itself because they kept working hard and they kept working smart and they never quit, but they weren't necessarily the best. It talks about the Beatles, you guys, which is incredible because you think about the Beatles and you think they must have just been like the best at the time, but they may not have actually been. They maybe became the best because they kept doing it and they kept practicing and they kept showing up and they were there at the right time. And I think about this business, and if you keep doing what you're doing and you keep working towards it and you keep hustling, you might land yourself at the right time at the right place to get lucky. Right? Luck is when opportunity meets preparation. That's what he says in that book. So Outliers is an awesome book that I highly recommend. And what's really cool about it is it's a very fun read. Grit is another one. It's a little bit of a more serious read and you kind of got to really focus on it. But Outliers, has anyone read Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell? Okay, you'll zoom through it because it's so much fun. Okay, so read that book. Now, I don't want you guys to think that hustler and a work mule, someone who just works like crazy, is the same thing, because they're not. And I want to go through some really important differences. A work mule is someone who is always busy. They don't enjoy what they're doing. They're trying to do everything. They never say no to anything. They're just constantly, yep, I'll do it. I'll help you out with this. I'll do this. Yes. And they're not really enjoying it. A work mule is usually driven by just money. That's their driving force, is money. And they are easily discouraged when rejection hits. Now, a hustler is willing to say no to something that is distracting from what they really want in life. They are willing to say no. So they know what they want, because you're not going to be able to say no to things if you don't know what you want. They have an undeniable love for what they do. You have to love what you do to separate yourself from the work mule and the hustler. Rejection is fuel for an internal fire. That's one of my favorites, you guys, because raise your hand if you've never seen rejection as a Beachbody coach. I don't care if you've been a Beachbody coach for a week. Raise your hand if you've never seen rejection. Raise your hand if you've seen rejection more than you've seen success, right? Absolutely. And that has to fuel you. It has to. I remember the month when I made like the biggest Success Club goal that I had, and I wake up on the first day of the month and I have a -2 because somebody returned a challenge pack. I'm like I'm starting the month, and I had all this motivation, you guys, and I start it with a -2. I'm like, oh my God, is the universe trying to like tell me I suck? Is that what it's trying to tell me? But that did fuel me. You guys can ask Todd what ended up happening that day, because he remembers. I was so mad. But that has to be your fuel. It has to be your fuel. An intolerance of the status quo. So you have to accept that you can make things different. You can't have that attitude of this is just how it is. It's just how it is. You have to believe that not only does it not have to be like that, but that you have the power to change it. You have to believe that. And we talked about it earlier, but an undeniable love for your craft. That is huge, because if you don't love it, when you get that rejection, you guys, you're going to want to quit. It's not going to be enough to get you to push past it. Back to that rejection as fuel. One of the examples in here is Madonna, who was told she wasn't ready for the industry. And it was said that that rejection letter is what fired her up to succeed. I went actually with one of my friends and fellow coach Teresa. We went to the Paula Abdul concert. And I don't know if you guys know her story, but she tells it on stage. And she talks about how she went to try out to be a cheerleader, and they rejected her. So she changed in the bathroom into another outfit that she had, and she came back out and put a different name down. And they rejected her again. So she went back to the bathroom and changed again and came out for the 3rd time, and then she was accepted. What if she had never done that, you guys? What if she had just kind of been like, I guess I'm not really a good dancer. I guess I'm not really good at this. Was she the best? Actually, she might not have been. Maybe she wasn't the best. But she kept putting herself out there and kept going after it. And eventually she got better and better because she kept doing what she loved. But if she had quit on those tryouts, I don't know if she would have ever gotten to be as good as she was. She might have actually quit on it altogether. The people that succeed, it's not that they are never rejected. It's that they don't care. That fuels them. You're willing to stumble so that you can rise back up, and you're willing to risk everything to achieve your dreams and achieve the life you see for yourself in the world. You must be willing to risk everything to achieve your dreams and achieve the life you see for yourself in the world. Guys, when somebody says, I'm scared of putting a post, or I'm nervous, or I'm scared of, then you are not willing, or that dream of yours doesn't really matter. How bad do you want it? When you think of that life that you want, you clearly don't want it badly enough. Because if you did, you would look past that and just say, I don't care. I'm willing to risk rejection from people that aren't going to be paying my bills. There are people that are not going to be creating that life for you. And I don't really care if you're going to reject me, because I am not doing anything to hurt anyone, and I am not doing anything to disrespect anyone. You have to be willing to risk that. You have to be willing to risk that. Elon Musk, do you guys know who Elon Musk is? The creator of PayPal, right? Tesla. There's a quote from him that said, my proceeds from PayPal were 180 million. I put 100 million into SpaceX, 70 million into Tesla, and 10 million into Solar City. I had to borrow money for rent because he was so convinced that he will put everything on the line for his passion First passion. That right there, I'm not telling you guys to go quit your jobs and borrow money to build this business by any means. In fact, I am a very big believer that true hustlers are also smart with their money. If you really want to live that life, you have to be willing to sacrifice in all areas today. Sacrificing financially, sacrificing with your time, because you internally truly believe that life is possible. If you don't sacrifice today with your time, somewhere in your mind, you think it's not possible, so you don't want to sacrifice. If you are willing to sacrifice today, it's because you really believe. You're like, I will live that life that I want. And so it's so worth it to sacrifice today. If you're not willing to sacrifice, you want to ask yourself, is there something in me that's telling me maybe I can't accomplish it? So I don't want to sacrifice because I'll never actually get there. And you've got to really dig deep and think about that. Do I think I am worthy of that life that I want? And do I think I can actually achieve it? And that's why hustlers have a little bit of ego that fuels them. And you got to work on that. A really good book, if that's something that you struggle with, are two of my favorites, You Are a Badass and You Are a Badass at Making Money. If you struggle with that tiny little bit of ego, not the kind of ego that people don't like, but that little ego that, yes, I can do it. Nothing will stop me and I deserve it. I deserve it. Not only can I do it, but I deserve it. Read those two books because that will help quite a bit. A hustler does not have excuses, or if they do, they push past them. The excuses like I'm so busy or I don't have time. And a hustler would turn that around and say, there's somebody out there that is busier than me that is doing this. And if they can do it, I can do it. That's what fueled me, you guys, when I was working in corporate and doing this. I was on a team, a great team. And I don't say this in a bad way at all, but the majority were people who were stay-at-home moms. And I don't say that as a bad thing at all, you guys, because I know that's a super, you're just as busy as anybody else. But when they were having calls at 11 a.m., I could not hop on those calls. But I told myself, there's someone else out there that works full-time that's doing this, so I will catch that call later. I will never miss a call. And I didn't. When I was building this business, I never missed catching up on a call later. You have to tell yourself. And then there's people who are moms that are working full-time. And I'd look at them and go, well, if she can do it, I sure as hell don't have any excuses. So you've got to always think to yourself, is someone else out there with this excuse getting it done? Okay, there is. There always is, you guys. And that would always make me zip my excuse and just get to work. Other excuses, my market isn't big enough. Well, is someone else out there with a smaller market getting it done? There's got to be, right? There has got to be. There's got to be. I put it out there on Facebook and nobody wants what I have. Okay, well, do you think that you can get past that? You have to have that little bit of ego that says, you know what? Nobody wants to buy a challenge pack from me this month. Nobody wants what I have to sell. Then I am going to get past it. I will find a way because I will not let myself miss my goal. The world belongs to hustlers, guys. It does. Things will come to you if you wait, but it's usually what's left over from the people who hustled. I read that and I was like, oh my God, that scares me. I don't want that. If you're tired of your crappy job, if you don't look around and think, I want something different in my life, you have to find a way to get out of it. And that means push yourself harder than you did yesterday, unless yesterday got you to where you want to be. Then keep doing it. Now the part about this that I think brings it all together, and that's how do you have heart when you do this, you guys? Because you can't be that hustler that's pushing through everything and you don't care who you push to the side along the way. You're never going to succeed. You will not succeed because the true hustlers, you have to have that heart. And I believe it comes down to something called emotional intelligence. So there's IQ, and then there's EQ, the emotional intelligence. And I think the emotional intelligence is actually more important than the IQ. And that's why the smartest person does not always succeed. It takes more than that. So does anybody know the difference between between empathy and sympathy? Wave of hand. Anybody? The difference? Kristen, do you know the difference? What's the difference?
Oh, you want me to say what the difference is?
Or do you just kind of know it?
On the spot. I was saying yes.
That's okay. You guys kind of have like a feeling for what it is. I'm
yes.
An example of or kind of like, this is how I always think about the two. Sympathy is when I see somebody standing out in the rain with no shoes and they're just like the rain is pouring down and you can see like that struggle on their face. Sympathy is I feel bad for them. I feel bad for them. I feel really bad for them. Empathy is even though I have not been out there and I'm not in the rain barefoot struggling, I feel their pain. I am putting myself in their shoes and I feel that pain. Now, I used to do, when I was in corporate, we used to do caliper tests to measure empathy and all sorts of other things that people have. And there are people that have low empathy, but I want you guys to know you can build that. That's not a trait that like you either just have or don't have. You absolutely can work on having empathy. And when you're talking to people on Facebook Messenger, on Facebook, whatever it is, building your following, empathy is a huge part of that. If you saw last week's video about how to talk to people, I told you guys how I will never stop messaging someone. If you keep messaging someone, inviting them to a challenge, and you don't have empathy, they will not move forward with you. They will eventually go to somebody else. They will go to another coach, or they'll go to another company because in their mind, I don't feel like you understand my struggle. If you have empathy when you follow up, I totally understand. I really get it. I understand that you are frustrated, but your life is so busy that this is really stressing you out. Doing a challenge with me, it looks like it's adding stress. Let's talk about that. You have to have that empathy when you talk to someone, or else they're not going to feel like you should be coaching them. Even if it's someone that is going through a struggle that you've never gone through. That's the difference between empathy and sympathy. I don't feel sorry for you. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants sympathy. I understand because I am allowing myself to take a moment and put myself in your shoes. So when someone tells you, I don't have the time, when you respond back to them, feel for that struggle. Feel it, even if you don't have it. So you got to work on that, and you got to kind of tell yourself, like, let me put myself in their shoes for a minute, and I want to respond in kind. And that allows you guys to push and follow up forever. I had a gal just yesterday that I've been talking to for the longest time who, like, I've sent her like 5 different signups because she wants to do the coach discount, but keeps putting it off. And she finally messaged me and she's like, listen, I didn't want to say it, but I can't do it right now. And if I was a hustler that didn't really care about other people, my gut reaction would be, oh my God, I'm not going to get the coach I want. But it really wasn't, you guys. I'm okay with that. You have to be okay with people saying no, even if they've said yes to you 100 times, because it's not about your agenda. When you help people get what they want, you will get what you want, and you have to believe that. So for her, I know she wants Shakeology, but I also know financially it's not a good time. So I have to be understanding. I totally get it. I still love you. I want this for you, not me. And I said that. I want this for you. I know you love your Shakeology. I totally get it. Just tell me when it's right for you. That's it. And she literally, that response was so great between us. She's not going to shy away from me, you guys. And I feel very confident. She said, contact me at the end of the month. I feel very confident talking to her in a couple of weeks because she doesn't feel weird. She doesn't feel icky around me. That is that empathy. Now the hustle part, where does that come in? You can darn well bet I'm going to follow up in 2 weeks, right? I'm not going to let that slip through the cracks because that's the hustle part. I use the heart to make it comfortable for people so that when I hustle, they don't run away from me. They actually bond with me, right? Like we have a good relationship. Hustle with heart. It's a short call today, you guys. So I really want to hear from you. I want you guys to feel free. Let's ask questions. Tell me if any part of this was, Jess, I can't unmute you for a reason. I don't know why. Maybe you don't have your, I don't know why I can't unmute you. If you can't unmute yourself, you could always chat. I don't know why it won't let me. But tell me what you guys think. What do you feel? Someone's got something on.
Yeah, I thought this was a great call. I'm actually sitting here as you're talking. I'm sitting here texting one of my coaches, like, you really need to start hopping on these calls. It really is helpful. You know, you're going to have your ups and downs with this business a lot more than what you want. but you can't give up, because like we've said, I don't know how many times, those 100 no's that we get, there's that one person out there that absolutely needs us. And that's all that we need to keep thinking about, you know, as we move on and just keep hustling. So it was a really good call this morning.
Thank you. Anyone have anything? Of course, we're not done yet. Don't hop off yet. I do want to go over a couple team things. And so one, we do have a new diamond coach on the team, Kristen, which, by the way, guys, this is someone who originally started with me and said she will never post on Facebook. That's not her jam. She's like, I'll probably talk to people in person, but I will not share this on Facebook. And so if you don't follow her, you should follow her on Facebook, because she's actually awesome. She builds a lot of trust with people, but that was not her when she started. She actually barely even had any friends. Not like you didn't have friends in real life, but her Facebook, I'm like, well, even if you do share on Facebook, no one's going to see it, honey. We got to. And so she just, how many people are you adding a week, Kristen?
Oh gosh, it's slowed down now, but at one point I was adding, I don't know, like 20 to 40 people a week. I went from 300 to now I have about 1,200 within like 4 months.
Yeah, and that's Jessica. You can't see me. Oh, you know what, Jess? You might have to like pin my video. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Can you see me now? I can see, I'm going to respond back to her. I don't know if she can hear me. I can see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but I can't see anybody. I haven't been able to the whole time.
That's so weird. You know what? It's your view is what it must be. I can see you. There's like in the top right-hand corner, there might be like a speaker view or something. I don't know what, I'm not sure, but I can see you and I can hear you, which is great.
But like, I can see you guys. It a little black hair for some reason after you started over there.
You just cut out a lot too. I could barely understand you this time.
Can you see me now?
Yes, I can see you the whole time. But you are part of this. Jessica is in my new coach training that started on Monday. And I know that must have lit a fire or something, because she just signed her first coach. So congrats, Jess. I think you're welcome.
This is exactly perfect for this call, because I've got to stop getting excuses. I just need to do it. Really, except for me.
You know what, guys? If there's one thing you take from this call, it's let rejection be your fuel, because there is no way to get around the rejection at all. And the minute you start thinking it's just you and not somebody else, you are going down a spiral that you will never get out of. The minute you think I'm getting rejection and other people are not, it's kind of like the death of your coaching career. I promise you. You have to think to yourself, everything that I'm experiencing, there's other coaches out there too. And as I go for this elite goal, I will tell you guys, 2 of my top coaches are under my husband, and they don't count towards my diamonds that I want. Asha's one of them, and Stacy's the other. Guys, they've been like top of this team for a long time. And if I let that get into my head of like, well, I don't think I can hit because 2 of my top coaches aren't even under me, then guess what? I'm not going to hit. But my attitude, you know, like literally and there's times that it creeps up. Like, trust me, the words of doubt come into my brain a lot. You know, I don't think I can do this. I'm just not set up to do it. The minute you do that, you're definitely not going to do it. And what I've been doing to tell myself, like, to just get past this is, I am not the first coach that has good people under her husband. Of course not. Like, I can't be the only one. I am not the only coach that has a situation, right? But I guarantee you there's an elite coach that has a worse situation who managed to do it. And there will no way am I going to be the loser that let that excuse stop me and some other chick out there managed to get past it. Like, that to me, no, that fires me up. No way. And so you have to take that and not just rejection, but even setbacks, you know, like whether it's rejection or a setback or anything that feels like, oh, how am I going to do this? Like, this just happened. You got to get past it.
And to take all of the that I have from my real work right now and put it into fueling this.
All the what? The rejection from your real work?
The
stress.
stress. Real work.
And it's, you know what's crazy, guys? When I first heard about Beachbody, I had just left a company that I really loved, but they just weren't paying me what I needed to be paid to live in San Francisco. And Todd had lost his job. And so I left a company I loved. It was really stressful, but I still really liked it. And I went to a company that paid me a lot more, but it was the worst job I've ever had in my entire life. And that was actually the exact same week that I became a Beachbody coach. I truly believe hating that job was the best thing that ever happened to me, because if I had been at the company before, it was really stressful, but it wasn't bad enough that I would have been fueled to build this business. It wouldn't have been. I wasn't fueled enough. And even Todd losing his job, like the two things that were the biggest stress, a job I hated and my husband being out of work in San Francisco, guys, our rent was $6,000. Let me tell you, the hardest time of our life, I'm so thankful for, because I don't think I would have ever been pushed to build this. And I look back now and I think my life is so much better than even that job that I kind of liked. Like, it is so much better. But if I had been there, I was lukewarm enough, like things weren't bad enough that I would have ever worked it. I wouldn't have hustled through this. So sometimes when things are really tough, it drives you a lot more. And if they're not tough enough, maybe make them a little bit tougher. It's like Darren Hardy says, that pendulum, if it swings really high on the suffering side, it's going to swing really high on the success side. So think about that. If you're not feeling the struggle, you got to reach more people and get rejected a little bit more. Make it a little tougher. All right. What do you guys got for me? Jess, I think you're frozen. So if you're talking, I can't hear you. Susie, what about you? Tosh, everybody good? Well, we've got what? Yeah. Okay, we've got how many more days of the month left?
I'm still here.
Yay!
I'm still here. I was just in the car.
You're good.
I just wanted to say I'm really glad I hopped on the call today too, because I think I've just been, I don't know why all of a sudden I have this little fear of people saying no, and I really don't care. So it's just like something in the back of my mind. I don't know what it is in the back of my mind. So I'm glad that I just heard it again. And so even I feel bad, but I'm about to go to my dad's church and it's always super boring. And I'm probably going to write down 1,000 names that I need to reach out to. But hopefully Jesus will permeate my brain anyway.
Well, Jesus wants us to take care of our body and to help other people.
Yes.
That's why I'm so thankful we do something that truly is like helping people's lives, because I never feel guilty about it. Wait, Natasha, we lost you. Say it all over again. I lost you.
Okay.
There you go.
Here's what I'm going to need help with from the team, because my cousin just had a stroke. He's only 45. My uncle passed away 5 years ago because he had diabetes and he ended up in the hospital with a blood clot, and he just never came out of it. My aunt also died of diabetes. So I want to just like, or complications from diabetes, and she had a stroke as well. So I have all these things and I just don't want to like throw it in people's face and be like, this is why you should do it. So I need some help on being like, genuine. I also don't want to hurt like my family when I bring up these things. So if y'all can think about some ways I can post that, you don't have to tell me right now, but just some way I can have empathy and still put it out there, because really that going to the hospital every day has really just made me know that I'm doing the right thing for myself and my team.
I feel like you just said exactly what you should post.
Mm-hmm.
Walk into a hospital every day and just wait for you.
Say it again, Jessica.
Walking into a hospital every day is enough of a wake-up call for you.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it doesn't have to be your own health that's at risk to realize that you need to work on it.
Yeah. Okay. All righty. I can see that.
You know, people tell the whole story in one post. You can just do a
Yeah.
small part of it. Like what Jess was saying is just the part about walking in the hospital every day. And then the other part, there's a lot to your story. You know, I don't know if it was Tony Horton. Somebody said this quote about genetics, loading the gun, but diet, pulling the trigger. And diabetes is like rampant in my family. My sister got it at 19. Two of my aunts, every single grandparent. My mom is pre-diabetic. She had gestational when she was pregnant with me. That's my genetics, right? Like my genetics has diabetes everywhere. But doesn't mean I have to live that life, right? And I think your story, talking about going to the hospital every day is one story. Talking about genetics, a lot of people feel like, oh, well, I can't do anything about it. It runs in my family. That's actually not true. You know, and you can stop it for yourself and for your children, because that's what you're doing, Tosh, is you're changing it for your son too.
I need to do something about this parking. It's been 25 years. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay. We'll talk offline too, because I think there's a lot going on there, and you can help a lot of people because you're not the only person going through this.
Right. Okay.
All right, guys.
I just wanted to put that out there, but thank you.
Well, I'm praying for your cousin, okay? Keep us posted.
All right. Thank you. I will.
All right. That's it today, you guys, unless somebody else has something they want to share. You guys fired up? Let's finish October strong. Hustler looks at the month and says, I have 9 days left. I can do a lot in 9 days. So I'm going to challenge you guys all to do more than you thought you're going to do for this month. Bye, guys. Have a great one.